Come on, you've watched F1 long enough to know better. In Monza, Ferrari had the perfect opportunity, and they ignored it. Hamilton, already carrying a grid penalty, was in Q3. Leclerc, fighting for pole. A free toe was on the table. Clean, legal, powerful. But Ferrari didn't use it, didn't ask for it, didn't even pretend to consider it. And you know what's wild? Lewis was glad. When asked if they should have used him to help Leclerc, his answer was ice cold. I don't. Not I understand, not maybe, just no. That's not a strategic opinion, that's a statement of identity. And if you're still thinking this was just about setups or track position, ask yourself, why is Hamilton suddenly so eager to draw a line between himself and team tactics in Monza, of all places? This isn't just Ferrari missing a trick. This is political. This is psychological. And it's happening right under Leclerc's nose. So who really made the call to not use Hamilton? And what are they afraid of? Think about the way he answered. It's not something I ever did in any of my other teams. That's not casual. That's calculated. That's Lewis reminding everyone, including Ferrari, that he's not here to be anyone's rear gunner. And here's what makes it even sharper. Ferrari didn't dare ask, not even off mic. In a weekend where every 10th mattered, they chose silence. And in F1, silence is never just silence. It's strategy. It's protection. It's politics. The truth? If Ferrari had even suggested using Lewis to tow Leclerc, it would have exposed something they're not ready to deal with. Power dynamics. Because the moment Hamilton says no, publicly or privately, he becomes bigger than the team. And that's already happening. And Leclerc? He was left out in the wind, literally and figuratively. No tow, no support, no pole. And yet he smiled, like he always does, like he's supposed to. But behind closed doors, what does Charles really think about this? Is he starting to realize that Ferrari's already bending for 2025? And if Leclerc feels it, what happens the day he stops playing the good soldier? He won't say it out loud, not yet, but the signs are there. The body language, the polite disappointment, the familiar "we did our best" tone. Leclerc's been here before. Monza 2019, Silverstone 2022, and now again. Strategy that feels half-hearted. Priorities that feel elsewhere. This time the excuse was clean. No tow available. But the reality, they had Hamilton right there. And in a team built on decades of hierarchy, the decision to protect Hamilton's independence, even over Leclerc's pole chances, says it all. Ferrari chose not to ruffle feathers, not to push, not to risk being told no by a driver who hasn't even worn the red suit yet. It's subtle, but it's power. Hamilton is already influencing strategy, just by being in the room. And Leclerc? He knows it. Maybe not in words, but in instinct. When your team stops fighting for every inch with you, it's only a matter of time before you start questioning why. So is Monza 2024 the moment Leclerc realizes Ferrari's heart is no longer fully his? Let's be honest. The slipstream was just the surface. What really played out in Q3 was a power test, and Ferrari blinked. They had a chance to assert control, to show that team orders still mattered in Maranello. But instead, they tiptoed around the issue. No discussion, no coordination, no risk. Why? Because telling Lewis Hamilton what to do, even in a harmless Q3 scenario, means challenging the alpha before he's even arrived. And that's what this weekend revealed. Hamilton already walks like a number one. He knows it, Ferrari knows it, even Leclerc knows it. Think about it. Since when does Ferrari not exploit every inch of advantage in Monza? When have they ever hesitated to use every car, every driver, every trick in the book? But with Hamilton, they chose caution, respect, maybe even fear. It was supposed to be Charles's weekend, but it turned into Lewis's quiet statement, "I don't follow, I lead." So if Hamilton already has this much influence, what happens when he's officially in red? The Tifosi came for Leclerc. Flags, flares, chants. Monza was painted for him. But on track, in the garage, in the subtle dynamics, something felt off. Ferrari played it safe, played it quiet. And in so doing, they played into Hamilton's hands. Because by not even suggesting the tow, they allowed Lewis to maintain total autonomy and sent a clear signal: we're already managing around him. And the data? Brutal. Leclerc finished P4. Hamilton, with a penalty, without a tow, was just over a tenth behind. That close, with less support, less track position, and more weight on his back. Lewis didn't need help, but Leclerc did. And when Ferrari had the chance to give him every advantage, they hesitated. That hesitation isn't just a bad call. It's a warning. It tells Leclerc exactly where he stands in the new hierarchy that's slowly forming. And he's smart enough to see it. So what does Charles do when the team he stayed loyal to starts choosing silence over support? This is what makes it so dangerous and so brilliant. Hamilton didn't need to make demands. He didn't issue ultimatums. He just existed. And that was enough to shift Ferrari's posture. Because when you sign someone like Lewis, you're not just signing a driver. You're signing an identity, a standard, a voice that doesn't whisper. And in Monza, we saw Ferrari begin to bend, not to his will, but to his presence. They avoided controversy, avoided conflict. They protected him from the toe politics, even if it meant compromising Leclerc's shot at pole. That's not normal. That's not Ferrari. That's a new team that's already looking toward 2025. And inside the paddock, people noticed. Engineers, rivals, even other drivers. The whispers are getting louder. Hamilton isn't adapting to Ferrari. Ferrari is adapting to him. So where does that leave Leclerc? Because when a team changes its behavior for someone else, the message is loud and clear. Is Ferrari quietly building itself around Hamilton at the cost of Leclerc's faith? You know the look. That tight professional grin. The one Charles wears when the weekend slips away and he can't say why. Because what can he say? That the team didn't give him the best shot? That they prioritized politics over pole? That they were too careful with a future teammate instead of being aggressive for him? He can't say that. Not publicly. But inside, he knows. This isn't the first time he's been left alone in Q3. It's not the first time Ferrari's strategy raised more questions than answers. But this one's different. Because this time, there was an option, a simple one, and the team didn't even explore it. They're being diplomatic now, playing the long game, protecting the brand. But that brand is shifting, and Charles isn't at the center of it anymore. So the real question isn't how he feels today. It's what he'll do tomorrow when this dynamic repeats itself under bigger pressure with championship points on the line. What happens the first time Hamilton and Leclerc really clash, and Ferrari has to pick a side? This was qualifying. No titles at stake, no team orders issued, no wheel-to-wheel drama. And still, the politics boiled over. Ferrari didn't lose pole because of pace. They lost it because of fear. Fear of disrupting the balance. Fear of poking the beast that is Hamilton. And in so doing, they exposed the fault lines that could split this team wide open. Because if Ferrari's already hesitating to maximize Leclerc's chances, before Lewis even puts on the red suit, what happens in 2025? When both drivers are in title contention? When one asks for priority? When the other refuses?
Hamilton isn't coming to Maranello to play second fiddle. And Leclerc has spent years waiting for a car and a team to fully back him. Neither is stepping aside. So forget Monza. Forget the tow. This was the dress rehearsal for a power struggle, one that's been simmering since the contract was signed, and now it's just starting to boil. Are we watching the rise of a new Ferrari dynasty, or the spark that burns it from within?